Hello everybody, I'm Sophie and welcome to this yoga flow for your lower body. So whether you've been for a run or a cycle or a long walk, or even if you've just been on your feet all day at work, this is just going to stretch out every single muscle of the legs and some of the lower back. So we'll start in child's pose. Option for child's pose are knees as wide as your mat, or they can be close together. Fold the chest down over the thighs or in between the legs, reaching the hands away, and your forehead just comes to the mat, or if that's too far away, maybe a block. Just take a few moments just to land here in this space. Come to your breath, just feel the breath down the back of the body. Maybe you reach the hands a little bit further away, just as you get into this pose a little bit more. Just come into your breath. Inhale and exhale. And nice and slowly bringing yourselves all the way up. We're coming to an all fours position, knees under hips and your wrists under your shoulders. We're going to take the left foot back first, press the heel away from the body. Feel that stretch down the back of the calf. If you want a little bit extra, maybe placing the right foot on top of the heel. Press that calf a little bit further, stretch it a little bit more. And then we'll swap sides, bring that left knee in, right leg reaches away. Really press the heel into that space behind the body. And again, if you want a little bit extra, maybe just placing the left foot on top of the heel. Coming all the way back to the centre. We're going to take the left leg out to the side and the toes point forwards. And then just start to drop the heel back. Hopefully you get a nice stretch down the inside of that left leg. If this is too hard and you're just here, that's fine. Just if you can feel that stretch high up, that's great. Bring the knee back to the centre and we'll go on the other side. Right leg reaches out, and again, either pressing all the way back or as far as you can, feeling that stretch down the inside. Back to the centre. We're going to tuck the toes underneath, maybe the knees come together, and just start to sit back on the heels. So we're taking a stretch through the bottom of the feet. It's going to be quite uncomfortable, so just stay here for as long as you can, but don't worry if that's not very long at all. Maybe the hands are on the floor if this is enough. If you're like, yeah, I've got this, hands come off the thighs to the heart centre. Tapping into that breath. So we'll stay here for maybe a little bit longer than you really want to. Getting into the deep fascia of the feet, really stretching out the soles of the feet. A few more breaths. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, see if you can just go a little bit deeper. And then release the hands. Gently untuck the toes. It might be a little bit painful. Give them a little wiggle, maybe a little tap on the top of the mat. And then with the toes untouched this time, we're going to sit back on the heels. So now we're targeting the front of the shins and the top of the feet. So maybe you're getting a stretch right here, and that's great. You just stay here. If you want that little bit more, or you're not quite feeling a stretch, just start to bring the hands behind. Maybe the knees lift slightly. If you want that bit more, maybe you start to bend the elbows. Really be mindful of the knees, any pain, don't push into it. So you just start to feel a nice stretch down the front of the ankles, tops of the feet, shins. Great if you've been running or walking. Breathe into that uncomfortableness again. These stretches aren't everybody's favourite, but necessary for the lower body. Nice, well done. Gently, nice and slowly, coming all the way back forwards. We're going to tuck the toes under and press up to a downward facing dog, nice and gently. So normally in a downward facing dog, I'd say bend the knees, make sure that you're protecting your back. But to really stretch out through the hamstrings, straighten your legs as much as you can. And if this means that the back starts to round, then for this time and this time only, don't worry. Really feel that stretch down the back of the hamstrings. I always think that you can really stretch the hamstrings the most in a downward facing dog. For me anyway, that might be totally different for you. Few breaths, feel that stretch. And then placing the knees back down on the earth. Press back to a child's pose. Take a few breaths. So we're just going to move through 2 movements. If this is really painful on the back, then just staying in this child's pose. For everybody else that's coming with me, we're going to roll all the way forwards. Keep rolling forwards and then just start to gently drop the hips as far as you can. Don't worry if they're nowhere near the floor. Take a few moments here. And then we'll press all the way back to a child's pose. Nice, well done. We'll move through that again. Coming all the way forwards, nice and slowly. Start to drop the hips as far as feels good. If you need to bend the arms, bend the arms. Just working a little bit into the lower back for a few moments. Pressing back into a child's pose. Often if we've worked the legs, the lower back, something that starts to hurt, so we'll just move in this in the opposite directions. Last movement, all the way forwards. Again, drop those hips. Maybe you notice that you can come a little bit lower. And then everybody roll the chest down if you're in child's pose, meeting us here on the front of the body. And we're going to roll onto the side. And you can use the hand to create a little pillow for the head. The right foot, the bottom leg even, is bent to make a nice secure base. Bend into the left leg, taking hold of the foot with the hand. So we're in this quad stretch now, stretching the muscle down the front of the leg. You can make this as big or as small as feels good for you. Maybe pressing the hips forwards a little bit, drawing that heel in towards the bottom. Any pain in the knee, backing out. You want to feel this stretching the muscle, the meaty part of your leg, not in your knee, not in your hip. Gently release. Rolling all the way back onto the front of your body, and we'll go onto the other side. So again, little pillow for the hand, bending into that left knee. That bottom foot creates the base. Take hold of the right foot. And again, making it as big or as small as feels good for you. Don't worry. Everybody's body is different, so maybe that heel's nowhere near your foot. That's fine. Gently, slowly release that foot. Roll all the way onto the belly. Coming through all fours, back to a downward facing dog. And just start to walk the feet to the top of the mat. See if you can keep the hands on the earth. Again, we're going to stretch through the hamstrings, so folding forwards. Normally I would say bend the knees, but to feel that stretch in the back of the hamstrings, keeping the legs as straight as you can. Now maybe that means that you can't touch the floor, so you could always use a block. Maybe you touch the floor, but you're just on fingertips. Stay in here, use that breath, folding the chest over the thighs. Nice and slowly roll all the way up to standing. Take a moment. Inhale to reach the hands high. Exhale to fold back to that forward fold. You can bend the knees this time. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Straighten the legs again and again. Feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Exhale to refold. Inhale, reaching those hands high over the head. Exhale the hands down to the heart center. Inhale to reach. Exhale to lower. Bend the knees. Inhale to look up and lengthen. Flat back, squeeze the shoulder blades together and imagine the crown of the head draws forwards and the tailbone is drawing backwards. Exhale, refold. Nice. Inhale, reach. Exhale to lower. Inhale to reach. Exhale, folding forwards, hands to the earth. We're going to step the right foot back. Gently drop that right knee, untuck the back toe. Now options to hold onto your thigh, if that's enough, you can stay here. Or reaching those hands high over the head. So first of all, we're going to think about the pelvis. Really think about tucking it underneath. So when you tuck it under, just notice that stretch down the right hand side of the front hip. The front side of the right hip. Take a moment just to feel that stretch. So we're stretching the hips, the quads. From here, maybe you start to just move slightly forward, so you're dropping a little bit into the hips this time. And again, hands can be on the hips, they can be on the thigh, you can reach them high, or you can just bring them down to the floor. Take a few moments, maybe you take some little movements, really opening out through those hip joints. From here, start to press the hips back, point the toes. We're coming into half split, or what is more known as a hamstring stretch. And you can use 2 blocks, maybe if you've got them and your hamstrings are particularly tight. Take a few moments, think about folding the chest forwards, point the toes. Use the breath, the inhale lifts, and the exhale just folds that little bit deeper. Move the blocks out of the way. Frame that left foot. We're going to step back to a plank. Lower the knees Untuck the toes, gently lower the chest to the earth, keep the elbows tucked. Inhale, lift into a cobra, baby cobra, however deep you want to go. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Step the right foot to the top of the mat. If it doesn't get there, pick it up. Place it where you want it to be. Drop the left knee. We're coming back to that low lunge. So hands either reach high, heart center onto the hands. Think about that pelvis, tucking it under. Feel that stretch down that side of the thigh. Into the hip flexor. All muscles that we use for everyday walking or running or cycling. From here, maybe you drop a little bit deeper, feeling it into the hips this time. Hands wherever feels good, circle through the hips. Or you can just be still, whatever feels good for you. From here, press back, feel that stretch down the back of the hamstrings. Don't worry if you're pretty high up. And again, if you want to use those blocks, go ahead. Everybody's different, so this will feel and look different in everybody's body. And then walk the hand, frame that right foot, press off the left leg, forward to the top of the mat. Coming back, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, refold. Inhale to slowly reach the hands high. Exhale the hands down to the heart center. Inhale, reach the hands over the head, palms touch, gaze to the thumbs. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, plant the hands. This time we're going to step the left foot to the back of the mat. Bend that right knee, but the back foot hovers off the earth. So we're in this runner's lunge. Options again, if the ground feels a million miles away, maybe grab 2 blocks. Pick the height that feels good for you. Just take a moment again, feel that stretch down the front of the thigh. Think about the crown of the head draws forward and the left heel really reaches back in space. And again, from here, we're going to start to press the hips back. So we're coming to pyramid pose. We're on the ball of that left foot. And again, either using those blocks. If you've not got blocks and the ground is a million miles away, you can just bend slightly into that right knee. Feeling that stretch again in the hamstrings. We're just intensifying the stretch this time. Hold the chest over the thighs. And then frame that right foot. Step back to a plank. Lower the knees. Lower the chest. Inhale to a cobra. Baby cobra. Exhale, press back to a downward facing dog. Just so we can step the left foot to the top of the mat. And again, if it doesn't get there, just pick it up and put it there. Bending into that left knee. We're in this runner's lunge. Maybe this is too intense. If you want to drop that back knee, you can do. If you maybe want to drop that knee a little bit lower, you can feel that stretch a little bit more again in that hip. From here, press the hips back, coming into pyramid pose. Left leg is straight, right leg is straight. Use that breath. Inhale, lifts. Exhale to fold over the left thigh. From here, this time we'll step the right foot to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we're folding forwards, bend the knees, coming into a little squat position. Drop the head down, feel that stretch down the back. From here, making your way onto your bottom. Come to sit on your sit bones. Toes point to the sky. I'm going to inhale, reach the hands high over the head. Exhale, fold for the feet, Paschimottanasana. If you can't reach the feet, you can just bring the hands to the earth, or maybe you have a strap to take hold of. Inhale to lift. Exhale, see if you can fold that bit deeper. Imagining that there's a torch on your chest, shining that light to your toes so that you're lifting the chest forwards, you're not folding down. Inhale, reach the hands back high. Exhale, the hands down to the ground. Drawing the right knee in, the sole of the right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. Inhale, reach again. Exhale to fold over that left foot. Reaching for wherever you can. Again, use a strap or just bring your hands to the floor or your shin. Think about the light in the chest. Shine it towards the big toe. Inhale, reach the hands back high. We're going to take a little twist so the right hand comes behind onto the floor, left hand onto the right knee. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist that a little bit deeper. Come back through centre. Taking the right foot, place the ankle onto this meaty part of the thigh. So we're not on the knee, we're just above the knee. Hands come behind the body. Just start to bend that left knee. We're coming into a figure 4 stretch. So the intensity of this stretch just depends on how close or how far away your left foot is, and also how close your body is. So you pick the intensity. You're the one that's here feeling this, so you decide. Think about drawing that right knee out, flex the right foot. So you should feel this stretch in the glutes, down the side of the hips again. Come out of it the same way that we came in. Release that foot down. Straighten the right leg out, swap sides, sole of the left foot to the inside of the left thigh. Inhale, reach the hands high. Exhale, folding over the right foot, taking hold of wherever feels good. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, fold back over the thigh. As your moment, just to close your eyes, notice how this stretch feels in your body. Maybe notice if this feels any different, one side to the other. So these poses that we do on separate sides are great ways to really get in tune to your body. Notice which side's not your good side, but which side is your better side or easier side. Everybody has one, so great just to notice. Inhale, reach, and then we'll take that twist, right hand to left knee, left hand behind. Inhale, lift, exhale, twist. Gentle twist again through the lower back, getting some little stretches into the lower back. Nice. Coming all the way back to the centre. Placing the left ankle to that meaty part. Hands come behind. Draw that right knee in as far or as close as feels good for you. Flex the left foot. Draw that knee out to the side, so that will well intensify that stretch. The knee's closer towards the chest. The stretch won't be as much. So if you're quite flexible and you're looking for more, really think about drawing that knee out. Any pain in the knee just coming straight out of this pose. this figure 4 stretch. Feel it in the glutes, the hip. And then gently coming out the way that we came in. So a few last options. So for your Shavasana, you can take the legs up the wall. So if you've got a wall, placing your bottom as close as you can, and then swinging the legs round so that the feet are up in the air. And just see if you can shuffle your bottom a little bit closer. Staying here. If you've not got a wall, you can prop something underneath the bottom, maybe a block or maybe a cushion. So you just pop that underneath the bottom, lay down, and just notice how the legs naturally just release up into the sky. If you don't want to do either, you can just come down to Shavasana with the legs stretched out and or the knees bent. So take your options. If you've not got a wall, but maybe you have a chair, you could just bend the knees over the chair. So the trick or the aim here is that we are elevating the legs over the heart. And this really helps just to release any stiffness or soreness or just that feeling of really achy legs. This is great for that. It also helps with the drainage through the lymphatic system. And it just generally makes you feel very relaxed. So just picking that position wherever you feel comfortable. If you went a little bit too close to the wall, maybe you come a little bit further. Again, depending on the flexibility of the hamstrings. Hands can be down by your side, or just release them onto the belly. We'll just take in these last few moments of this practice, letting the body just sink that little bit deeper into the earth, noticing if you're holding any tension anywhere. See if you can just release, let go, relax. If you've got a few more moments, you can stay here for as long as feels good to you. You can also just use this pose at any time when, as I say, the legs feel a bit achy. Tapping back into that breath. Where do you feel it the most? Anchor that awareness there. Start to just deepen the breath. And as I say, you can stay here a little bit longer if you have time. If you want to reach the hands behind, taking a little stretch. Maybe you bend the knees, soles of the feet on the floor, on the wall, sorry. Maybe you move the feet a little bit wider again. That really changes the stretch. This time it's more in the hips. Another pose that can feel really good for the feet, for the knees, for the hips, for all of the legs. And then when you're ready, releasing back onto your mat, coming out of this the way that you came in. Making your way up to a seated position. Just to close this practice, cross-legged, hands either on the knees or gathered at the heart center. Close down your eyes, take a few last breaths here for yourself today. Right now, there's nothing that you need to do, so just take these last moments. You don't need to think about anything. This is your time for you. We'll take one last inhale together through the nose. Open the mouth to side out. Thank you everybody for practicing with me today. Namaste.